How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Geek View. My name is Quincy. I'm here with Jeremy, and we're here to talk about MoonKnight episode 4, 5, and episode 6. Just because we've taken so long, and MoonKnight's already had so many weeks that's passed, and we're here to talk about it in a what you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say, I'd say it's more just because you're more reluctant to to watching MoonKnight than I am.
I liked MoonKnight, later on.
You only liked it after watching
episode 4, 5, and 6 made me a believer. I was a believer.
Yeah, it only after. I had to force you to watch like episodes 1 through 3.
You're like, let's do the episodes. Let's record. So if anybody's watching and you're subscribed to the channel and you watch this regularly, then you'll know that we did not record episode to episode because I was very reluctant to watch MoonKnight. Not saying that I didn't like it. It's just that it took
You didn't like it in the beginning.
Okay, I didn't like it, but it took some convincing for me to actually watch the rest of the episode. So now I'm a believer, and now we're recording it. Okay, everyone's happy. Jeremy's happy. The audience is happy. They're not left on a cliffhanger from episode 1 to 3.
That's okay. They're probably anyone who follows any of the episodes we do, we're probably used to it because we have so many cliffhangers.
Yeah, all these cliffhangers. Hey, I mean that builds suspense, right? 30 seconds in. Oh,
cliffhangers that never end, that have no conclusion.
that leave you on the cliff the whole time. But the great thing is that with episode 4, 5, and 6, we kind of get a look into. It seems like the duat where. After Mark Spector, spoiler alert. Well, I guess it could be any of one of them. Mark Spector, Stephen Grant. After they get shot, he gets transported into this insane asylum, which of course is called the duat. And there we see a lot of interesting characters. Like we see the same characters in this asylum, and then we see a big hippopotamus, which I think was the big kind of surprise for a lot of people. I was surprised. I didn't understand why there was a hippo there.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you felt about this, Jeremy, but when Mark Spector released, it was Stephen Grant who released Mark Spector. That was very.
What do you mean released?
Released from the tomb. You know what I mean?
No, that's Mark Spector released Stephen Grant from the tomb.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Mark Spector released Stephen Grant.
Because Mark Spector. I mean, when we get into the duat, right, the limbo. The insane asylum, right? It's Mark Spector talking to Arthur Harrow, or at least a representation of Arthur Harrow, who's like a psychological doctor in this episode, in this scene. Cool. And then he runs, and then he finds Stephen Grant trapped in a sarcophagus.
And I feel that was a really emotional moment because it's weird how they're the same person, but they're really acquired like a friendship amongst themselves, and I feel like that's just Oscar Isaac's talent, coming through, where he's just like, oh yeah, I can talk to myself and portray these people as two different people, and then of course I like Stephen Grant over Mark Spector. I don't really like Mark Spector too much as a character or in this show specifically, but their friendship is very apparent, and I like that. I was like, you guys are the same person, but you guys come across as two different people for me. And I like one over the other. I don't know if it's just the accent or if it's just their overall character demeanor, but A+ to Arthur Isaac. I don't know
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac. Because I'm thinking of everyone else, but Oscar Isaac. My hat's off to him because he did a really great job. Mm-hmm. So what was the god's name who was the hippopotamus?
So I don't know how to pronounce it. I think it's Taweret. I think it's spelled Taweret. So I'm not entirely sure, but that's the hippopotamus. She's like the goddess of childbirth, right? Or motherhood. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So I her appearance startled me a little bit, and of course the reaction with Mark Spector and Stephen Grant, they were both surprised, and from there, they kind of go further into the duat to be what is that called, judged, which is interesting because when you think about the first episode, right, Arthur Harrow is the person who kind of judges people, and then now they're in this limbo
That's
place.
that's like the whole theme, right? Is the scale of balance. It's just like because Khonshu, Amit, and then like the limbo area they're in, the duat, right? It's all about judging a person's personality. The only difference is that Khonshu wants to do it after they committed a crime, while Ahmet wants to do it before they commit the crime.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I actually,
yeah,
that was in the episode before.
Like that's like the whole thing with the Egyptian pantheon or like judgment is that you can only be judged like after you've committed like the bad things that you've done, not before.
Right, and I mean, I guess it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Yeah,
like,
so that theme kind of just runs out again through when they're on the ship heading to the Field of Reeds. Like their heart has to be judged, right? I don't think it's necessarily if it's judging them if they're a good person, but really judging them like how if like
their actions.
No, not their actions. It's more of like their. It made it seem like it's more geared towards how content they are with their life, right? Or if they can come to terms with their actions, if they can live with themselves, right? Because that was the whole thing when we did that when they eventually get into the sequence of like getting to the past of Mark Spector, right? They had that heart on the scale, right? They had to balance it. And the reason why it wasn't balanced was because Mark Spector was like feeling shame and guilt over his past and the actions that he's done and before becoming the MoonKnight.
Oh, that I did not get that from that episode. I guess I take a lot of things for face value. I'm like, okay, we see his past and
yeah, the hippopotamus was explaining all of this kind of in the show.
Well, episode 5, right? I mean, she was explaining it in terms of. See, that's probably where I fell asleep. I fell asleep right there. But upon rewatch, because honestly, even though I fall asleep, I do rewatch the episodes. Like going back into Mark Spector's past, and I know for you it was an emotional time when we find out that Stephen Grant really is part of the multiple personalities and not the real person.
Yeah, and he's not the original personality. He's a figment of Mark Spector's imagination.
Yeah, and that was a little bit shocking. Like I feel like that episode was a turning point in terms of positioning, in terms of perspective, because when you first start the series, you go from the Stephen Grant side, and then you go through it, and then you think that he's the main protagonist, only to find out that he was like a split personality the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, like it starts off with him in the first scene in episode 1, and also, I mean, when they first have the conversation between Mark Spector and Stephen Grant, right? See, Mark is like, oh yeah, if I fulfill this mission, the contract I have with Khonshu, you'll never see me again. Like they made it sound like as if like he's just alternate personality.
So all of these kind of like subtle hints, kind of lead to this moment. And, we see the origin of how Mark Spector and Stephen Grant, how they became split, because it was just a way of him, like, because his mom was a bad person, I mean, of course, I see, okay, my thoughts is that the mom had a reason to not like Mark Spector because of his irresponsibility to have his.
You can't.
So the reason why I feel that way is because I've been in so many scenarios where a sibling had to take care of another sibling, and then not so many, like three specific examples where a sibling had to take care of the other sibling, and then they had inexplicitly passed away, right, or drowned, or whatever the case may be, which was very similar to this origin story. And I understand that the mom would blame Mark Spector for, that because he's the one living, and then of course, the other son is dead, and I felt like that is what created the mom to be so hostile toward Mark Spector, and then of course with that hostility, Mark had to protect himself, and emotionally and through the trauma, he had became Stephen Grant. Which is kind of weird. Oh yeah, they did show how Stephen Grant did kind of come to be, right? Based off of that show that was very seemingly like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it looked like a really old TV show.
And so, based off of that persona, he had adapted, Stephen Grant, and every time that I guess he felt like he didn't like his mother or felt no love for his mother, Stephen Grant was that part of him that was actually the caring and always felt that the mom was a good mom. Stephen Grant always
She
felt
was a good mom until she let her grief take over, and then she became a drunk and an abusive parent.
I guess those types of situations like kind of hit home for some people, especially if they grew up in that way. So I think it made the character a lot more relatable. The reveal with MoonKnight was very shocking as well.
Yeah, and I think it was just even more sad when you think about like the dad, because like even though I mean he lost a son too, right? But I mean he was the only one. It felt like he was the only one left that was trying to like keep things or put things back together.
Yeah.
But the mom gave up, and then the son ran away. So he was like he essentially left all alone in the end.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer.
Bummer.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that's
in the wise version, Quincy. Yeah, it's a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah. Moving on. Well, let's move on to the battle scenes.
Okay.
But episode 4 and then of course episode 5 was kind of that origin story, and then we do see Stephen Grant kind of sacrificing himself, falling off the boat into the duat, and then of course turning into sand or stone or whatever he turns into. And then Mark Spector actually ends up going to the Elysian Fields.
No, it's not the Elysian Fields. It's the Field of Reeds.
Okay, the Field of Reeds. Elysian Fields is some kind of field.
That's we're getting into Greek mythology there.
I know. Yeah, only because it's like I've watched so much Xena, and it's like she always talks about the Elysian Fields, and I'm like, oh yeah, the Elysian.
That's like their version of heaven, right?
Well, that's what I think is super cool about Marvel is like they really like depending on the the historics of it. It's like the duat, and they're bringing all these like Egyptian mythologies to life, through this episode. So another interesting fact is that during the 3 episodes, Layla Grant actually she
just becomes an avatar of the god Tawret, right?
Yeah, she does become the avatar, where it's surprising. It's like everybody really likes Layla, yeah? Everybody wants to inhabit Layla's body, or whatever the case may be. Was there a reason for that? I know that she becomes like similar to the comics, she becomes like a superhero, which was
I think in the comics she's referred to as the Scarlet Scarab.
Yeah, and that's of course with the embodiment of being an avatar, right? Because she started kicking ass, like episode 6. I was like, oh, yeah, I was surprised. I was like, oh, she got wings. She got the wings, and she could fly. She was blocking bullets. She was helping Mark Spector. I thought all of that stuff was really.
She gave off a lot of like Captain America vibes.
Oh, I was gonna say Xena vibes.
Okay, yeah, sure, that too.
Yeah.
Although I don't remember her. I don't remember her yelling a battle cry every time she did like a flip through the air.
So all the young people, if you're even watching this, Xena was a 90s TV show. You gotta check it out. It's on Hulu. But yeah, Layla, started kicking ass. She was cool because she, when they actually came back to, the tomb of Alexander the Great.
Okay, I gotta say something about that Alexander the Great.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
That was a weird twist of events. I mean, I understand like the connection between Alexander the Great,
historic connection. Where he came.
Well, not even historic, but like I understand the connection between Alexander the Great and Egyptian pharaohs, right? Yeah. But I thought that was like so left field, because like, oh, this is a tomb of a great person. Like I think this is the tomb of Alexander the Great. I was like, wait, what did you say?
Yeah. Surprise! No shit.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna come with like some unknown pharaoh name that they probably made up, or some unknown one from history. But no, it's like, nope, this is gonna be Alexander the Great. Okay.
I thought that was a little bit weird, but I kind of looked past it, and I was just like, okay, well, he's the holder of that one Egyptian god that turned into a big cat or alligator. It was a big alligator.
You mean Amet?
She didn't look like an Amit to me.
What do you mean she didn't look an Amet to you? What does an Amet look to you?
I don't know. I know a couple Amits, and I thought the Amit was gonna be. I mean, I know that they referred to her as a she, but you know, like I thought it was gonna be something else. But hey, it's an alligator, so it's fine. So when they did come back, you know, I did feel for Layla because she did seem very powerless. You know, after he was shot, then she tried to wake him up. Even that whole scene, the fact that Mark Spector did come back was a little surprising to me because I thought he was a goner. You know what I mean? And like, does that mean in the duat that if you escape and you know you take your multiple personality with you and you escape, you come back to life? Like, is that?
Well, you just go back to your body, right? But the thing was, as Tarek was explaining, like even though I send you back, you're going to your dead body. That has bullet holes in it.
Yeah. That, like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Hey, I can move my dead body.
Sort of. I mean, it's not the quite same thing because he's just inhabiting. He's just controlling like a puppet. But this one, he's going back into his already dead body. But if it wasn't for the fact that Khonshu gets released,
yes,
I think he would have just died again.
Yeah, and then because the healing factor of Khonshu's armor is the MoonKnight armor is really what protected him.
Yeah.
But I thought, you know, like upon escaping the cave, it was like super cool action scenes. You know, like he was flying. Like, yeah, I feel like out of all the superheroes in the MCU, MoonKnight does seem to have like a pretty well-rounded kit of skills. Like, you know, he can fight. He has, you know, things. He's super strong. He's fast. He can fly. Like, I don't like know any of the other. Like, they make him super overpowered. It seems, but.
What about Thor?
I mean, Thor is of course super overpowered, but he is one of the strongest Avengers, right?
That doesn't mean anything. He's the thing is like he's a new god. He's a god, and Khonshu, or not Khonshu, but MoonKnight is the embodiment of a god.
Yeah, but
so they're both gods, really. They have both godlike powers.
But how do you kill? Like, I mean, essentially, MoonKnight versus Deadpool is like you can't really kill any of them. You know what I mean? They just heal up.
Yeah, but I mean, Deadpool wouldn't win.
Call it a day. Yeah, he definitely wouldn't win because the super strength and all the weaponry. He just cut himself up. Anyway, so they fly to, of course, the Egyptian pyramids, and then Khonshu grows like Power Rangers into a big thing. And
he grows in. I mean, it's a cool. I'm noticing like a trend. Like Marvel is now transitioning into like these big kaiju fights. Yeah,
big kaiju stuff. You know, because even with Shang-Chi, that seemed like a big kaiju fight. Like just like
yeah, a lot of like giant monsters against other giant monsters. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But it was cool because it was very like for me, I feel like when you have 3 action scenes happening, it's very Star Wars-esque. You know, like where you have, you know, battles happening on the ground, then you have the main characters battling, and then you have the airship battles. Like that's very Star Wars for me. So there was all these battles kind of occurring simultaneously, you know, on this final episode, and that was pretty cool. MoonKnight really redeemed itself for me the last 2 to 3 episodes.
So it's not even just episodes 4 through 6; it's just episodes 5 and 6.
Yeah, it was the best. And another thing I wanted to point out is, you know, after it's all said and done, of course, you know, Mark Spector is in a precarious position because Arthur Harrold, like, you know, hits him with the staff. It looks like he was ready to destroy him. And then, of course, we get that little, like, you know, multiple personality skit where everything just becomes the final version.
They did love to tease like the third personality.
Yeah,
Jake Lockley.
Jake Lockley, right?
Yeah, the cab driver.
And you do see him kind of manifest in the. Well, they do talk about him, right, in the 4th or 5th episode.
So, well, okay. So they talk. No, they sort of talk about it, like not directly. Like there are events where they're kind of confused as what's to happen because neither of them remember it.
Yeah.
Right. So it teases that there is a third personality, and then obviously at the very end, they at the very last scene, right? They show Khonshu in a limousine, right, talking to Arthur Harrow, who's taken in by an unknown figure, and it turns out to be Jake Lockley.
It's kind of interesting that Khonshu knew.
Khonshu, yeah, exactly. He always knew. That's why that's why he chose Mark Spector in the first place. And and when he was talking to Arthur Harrow, right, he was saying like, oh, Mark Spector always thought that I was going after Layla as his replacement, but in reality, it was just Jake Lockley this entire time, who is like this Italian mobster, I guess, mafia member. I don't know.
Yeah, because you hear his voice come out during the time that he's in the asylum, right? And then there's a third sarcophagus that you see that's like rattling and trying to break free, and that was Jake Lockley, right?
I might have been, yeah. I also realized this. I was just thinking about it. Like, I think they teased him at the very, very beginning in episode 1.
Where?
So it's very slight, or very subtle. But when we're going through the day of a life of Stephen Grant, right? Going through his job at the gift shop, right? Yeah. He talks to there's this coworker, a young pretty girl, who talks to him saying, "Hey, I'll see you at dinner, right, for our date." Yeah. Right? And Stephen Grant's all confused, obviously, because he obviously didn't make any date. And initially, you think, oh, it's probably Mark Spector flirting with the people, but I think it was Jake Lockley who, obviously was flirting with the girl. Because why would Mark Spector flirt with someone else when he's already married?
I do recall that, and I know that Stephen Grant did end up going on the date, and he was like, "Oh, it's Friday." He's like, "No, it's Sunday," and then of course she was really. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think that was just because there's a time skip of his memory with Mark Spector.
Yeah, Marvel did do a good job, I think, overall. Planning out these episodes, and then playing with the multiple personality, that is, Moon Knight's character. I think they told the story really well. They did embellish it with, Egyptian mythology. And I think it was just enough action for me to be okay with it.
For you to get through it.
Yeah. I just watch his movies for
I think this is probably Marvel's best Disney Plus series by far.
No, WandaVision.
Yeah. No. This is by far way better than WandaVision.
WandaVision won Emmys.
I think. I don't care. This one can win Emmys too.
Okay. Yeah.
See, Oscar Isaac could possibly win Emmys for his performance, right? Because he portrayed two different people so effortlessly.
You get main male lead, and the main supporting character.
Well, they're both male leads, really.
Yeah. But then, I mean, the cool thing is that, I mean, I don't even know if that's possible if you can have a support. I think Arthur Harrow will be the supporting actor, right?
No, a villain, right? Isn't there like I don't think
it's a villain. So Catherine Hoth for the Emmys got the supporting character role because of course she was a villain. So Elizabeth Olsen got for favorite female, and then Vision got for best male, and then Agatha Harkness got it for like their character names. They got it for supporting character. So essentially, if they are gonna put this up for an Emmy, then it'd probably be Layla, Oscar Isaacs, and then it would be
Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think this, like I said, I think this is probably the best one in terms of just overall story, because WandaVision
had a good story. Made her look weird. Connected it.
Yes. Like in terms of like the overall MCU storyline, yeah, it was good. Like, it's a good MCU story because it plays so well into the later movies that we saw, like in Doctor Strange. Yeah. But I think separate, like as by itself, as a standalone, I think it's very, very boring, and it felt kind of pointless. Because really, it's just WandaVision just going through a psychotic breakdown because she's depressed over the death of Vision, and then mind controls everyone.
One talks about trauma. Yeah, the other one talks about
the trauma. Yeah, I can understand. Like, the trauma was the portrayal of the trauma and the story of it was it was great. I liked it, but I think overall as a standalone movie, or series. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I felt kind of bored watching it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Everyone's starting to click off right now. Click off.
Yeah. No, but this one, I mean, okay. So comparing like WandaVision to MoonKnight, at least for MoonKnight, I was engaged and I felt like I wanted to watch more, like know what happens, wanted to know more about the story and the world around it, because it felt very different from other Marvel, because it doesn't play into the whole MCU universe, right? It takes place in it, but really nothing that happens in it really affects or really I guess plays into the MCU movies, right, that we know of.
It is a beginning and end cut off, right?
Well, it's a beginning, and we don't know how it ends. I mean, I'm sure they're going to tie it into the MCU somehow, right? But this was an individual story that anyone can just get into without any prior knowledge.
That's true. I mean, and that's actually one of the bigger gripes I've read about Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. It's like Wanda's story just happened so quickly into how she became the villain that it's hard to kind of grasp if you haven't watched the other episodes. And I know they wanted to keep it kind of standalone, but I don't think that it came off well, especially for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. But I agree with you on that. I don't agree that it's probably the best Disney Plus.
I think it's the best one so far.
Yeah, okay. We'll see how many people agree. If you agree with Jeremy, let us know in the comments below. But, make sure you like and subscribe, because then you'll see who's really right, because, WandaVision won an Emmy. So it's
whatever.
But, that's it for, MoonKnight episode 4, 5, and 6. If you have any theories that we missed, just, comment in the section below, and we'll see you next time.
Boop.